Hi guys, we're on Wolf here, and I will be discussing 3 theories on what Jon Snow's real name is in the books. Of course, in the show, Jon Snow's real name is Aegon Targaryen, but the books haven't been revealed yet, and I just want to go over 3 theories. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe, and let's begin. I think by now we all know Jon Snow is the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, and this has been accepted in the books and well, in the show it's confirmed, but yeah, in the books it's been accepted even though it's not been confirmed yet. This led the show to make Jon's real name Aegon Targaryen, which is theory number 1. While very understandable, given that Jon seems to be the prince who is promised and will unite the realm, connecting him to Aegon the Conqueror, this theory falls apart for 2 main reasons. The first reason is the show likely only gave Jon the name Aegon because it is literally the most common and recognizable Targaryen name. Everyone recognizes the name Aegon. The showrunners D&D, I don't think they were told Jon's real name, as while they knew the parents were, I could easily see George just not telling him what Jon's real name is. The second reason why is, at least for George, it feels too repetitive. He already wrote about a surprise egg, Aegon being egg, from the Dunk and Egg novellas, and Rhaegar named his first son Aegon. I highly doubt George would write 2 series centered around 2 characters with the same name, and for that reason, while understandable why the show went for Aegon, I just don't think that's the case in the books. The second theory is that Jon Snow his real name is Aemon Targaryen. This theory already has more likelihood than Aegon because Rhaegar never named one of his kids Aemon, so that's 1 point towards Aemon, I guess. In all seriousness, the main point of evidence for Jon Snow being named Aemon Targaryen is we meet the only other Aemon Targaryen. We see the 2 interact, and that's so fitting if the whole time 2 Aemon Targaryens were talking to each other. Another piece of evidence is that George loves foreshadowing, from the Red Wedding to the Direwolves, to the House of the Undying, and R plus L equals J in season 1 of the show. We know George loves foreshadowing. It'd be really damn good foreshadowing for Jon to meet Aemon Targaryen, a man who shares the exact same name as him. The third piece of evidence is that we know Bran becomes king since George told D&D that this would happen in the books. This is relevant because if Jon is never meant to become king at the end, the name Aemon works great because Maester Aemon never became king despite the throne being rightfully his, and Jon Snow would be the rightful king, and if he ends up back at the wall at the end of the book, something that seems more and more likely, it further makes sense to give Jon the name Aemon. However, this theory falls apart as we have no knowledge if Rhaegar even knew of Maester Aemon was a Targaryen, and that would pretty much be the inspiration for naming Jon Aemon. It also removes Lyanna's role in the naming, which is kind of sad. To me, it makes sense for Rhaegar to seek out Lyanna and initiate the process, and then Lyanna to give birth, give the child a name, and finish the process of creating the prince who was promised. While I personally wish this theory is true, it's really hard to kind of prove, even though narratively it makes a lot of sense. Now, the final theory on what Jon Snow's real name is, and the theory that I believe to be the canon name for Jon Snow is Jaehaerys Targaryen, named after Jaehaerys the Conciliator, the man who brought peace and prosperity to Westeros. Lyanna's part of the naming makes a ton of sense here, given that she knew about the prince who was promised. Naming the boy after someone who brought peace and prosperity to the realm makes a lot of sense, as the prince who was promised is going to unite the realm and bring supposed peace to it. Ned Stark also choosing to name the boy Jon, another J name, makes sense, as I could see Ned choosing another J name because it's easy and it'll throw people off from the real name. If Rhaegar had any role in the naming, it also gives further evidence as King Jaehaerys II was Rhaegar's grandfather, giving a connection there as well. This theory only has one flaw, being if Jon's name is Jaehaerys, then how come he won't become king in the end? Jaehaerys ruled as king for 60 years, and Jon being named Jaehaerys would be great foreshadowing for Jon being king, except for the fact that Bran becomes king. It's a point that I don't have an answer to. It's a very damning piece of evidence against Jaehaerys, even though for me, I feel like it makes the most sense. In conclusion, while there are some people who think Jon's real name could be Aegon or Jaehaerys, I feel like Jon's real name has to be either Aemon or Jaehaerys. There is too much evidence pointing towards the name between one of the two of them. I personally believe Jon's real name in the books to be Jaehaerys, after Jaehaerys the Conciliator, but I could very easily understand someone thinking it to be Aemon, and Jon named Aemon Targaryen, and when Jon says, "You're Aemon Targaryen," he's talking about himself as well, which would be really damn funny. Well, thank you guys for watching. It's a rather short video, but I just wanted to discuss this. Let me know in the comments, what do you think in the books Jon's real name is? If you want more like this, at 150k views, I'll do a video on the life of Catelyn Stark, and at 2k likes, I'll do a video on fixing Marvel's Multiverse Saga. But until then, bye!